apple chopped up. Woo! Okay, today we are going to be testing out 5 different gluten-free, anti-inflammatory breakfast recipes to take with us through hiking for the Appalachian Trail. A few months ago, I reached out to my alma mater, IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, where I got my dietetics degree and also where I got my internship to become a registered dietitian through. During my education at that time, we did have some experience with sports nutrition. However, I don't ever remember doing anything like hiking or through hiking. We focused more on kind of the more traditional sports, football, swimming, tennis, that sort of thing. But really, through hiking wasn't even on the radar. I don't even think I knew that that was an option when I was doing my internship. I've had the thought several times, man, I wish I would have learned more about this and about the nutrition that you need when you're doing something quite as rigorous as a through hike. So I decided to reach out to a former professor in the food and nutrition department there and just throw it out there. Hey, would you like to do an assignment with your students, or would your students be interested in possibly learning a little bit about through hiking and or making a meal plan for this? The result was that they went way above and beyond. I think I said, maybe do a 3-day meal plan, because I was thinking, my resupply boxes. If they could come up with something that I could do just like one of my resupply boxes, I thought that would be a great experience for them, and it would be really fun for me to see what they came up with. Instead, they did 3 full weeks of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So I am going to be testing all of those out, and if I don't hate them, they're gonna be going on the journey with us. Today, we'll be testing out the first of the breakfasts. And I'm sticking with 5 because I have 5 freeze dryer trays and I thought that would be a good number. The first one we're doing is a quinoa egg bowl. I prepared the quinoa and I've chopped most of the other vegetables. And let me tell you, I have spent over the last week several hours chopping vegetables. Even with, I've got the little hand slap chopper thing. Even with that, the amount of time and energy that I've put into chopping all these things, there's a part of me that is like, maybe I just want to buy all of my own meals. I don't want to cook all this stuff. It is a lot of work. I have the onions, peppers, and the potatoes here on the sheet. We're going to put it in the oven with 425, I believe, for 20 to 30 minutes. With us freeze drying this, normally if I was making this at home, I would have chopped these way bigger, but I decided to put them through one of those slap chopper dicer things to make it pretty small, because recipes that I've done in the past in freeze dried backpacking meals, they haven't rehydrated as well as I think I would have liked. They're still a little bit hard in the middle. I think a lot of that is because the fluid just can't get to the middle because I've chopped the pieces too big. So these I have chopped very small. The potatoes are supposed to be cubed, so they're not huge. I made them a little bit bigger than these, but still relatively small. The other thought I have with this is those of you who do have a freeze dryer, that you have to be careful with fats when you're freeze drying. So this does say a tablespoon of olive oil, and we are going to do it. We'll see how it rehydrates. But what I might do is when I make the rest of these, so if I make the rest of a full tray, I might not include the olive oil when we're roasting, which I know gives a whole separate flavor and dynamic, but I do have the little packets that I plan to pack with olive oil and other sauces and things. So what I'll probably do is then just take a packet. I'll put the tablespoon of olive oil in the packet and I'll take that with me for this. I want to get that oil distributed. Just kind of mix that around a little bit. I guess I don't know why I'm keeping them separated. They most certainly are going to be mixed in the meal, so yeah, that looks good. That's oil's distributed nicely. Let's get this in the oven. Oh shoot. I put some eggplant. I had some eggplant from this food box that I got that I needed to use up, and I roasted it last night and I totally forgot that it's still in the oven. So there goes that. But it's It's double roasting right now while the oven is preheating, so let's get that out of there. While those are roasting, we're gonna scramble us up 2 eggs. All right, got a nice hot pan. Speaking of fat and freeze drying, the other part of this recipe that I do have some concerns about is the avocado. I love an avocado and I'm happy to see it in here. I know one of the things that when making a meal plan or planning your meals for through hiking, that when you have a regular diet and you're just resupplying in town and you're eating ramen and mashed potatoes and nor sides and tuna, some honey buns and things, you're really missing, in addition to protein, fiber is the big thing that I am always kind of focused on. So, I mean, this is fabulous. Your quinoa and avocados really are a great source of fiber. However, when freeze drying, it's the fats again. These are loaded with really great, healthy, anti-inflammatory fats, but they're still fats. And whenever I have freeze-dried avocado in the past, it has come out when rehydrating. I don't know why I just did that. I did it like how I normally do. I cut it, I scooped it, and then I threw it in there, but I made it the regular size that I normally do, which is way too big. I'm gonna fix that here. Here you can see. This is the size I normally make it, and this right here is the size I'm gonna kind of cut it down to. We'll see. This is a great experiment, and I guess just because I have done avocado in the past and it hasn't turned out well, who knows? Maybe it will with this recipe, with this avocado. Honestly, I've only ever tried it, I think, twice. Once with pre-frozen avocado. I got just, I don't know what it was. It was a bag of avocado that was already chopped and frozen, and I guess now that I'm saying that, they were already kind of bitter. Those avocado were not good. But I think I did some fresh and it also turned out a little bit bitter. But again, same thing. What I might do with this recipe is freeze dry this avocado. And then the next time I have it, with the rest of the recipes, I'm not gonna put the avocado in. I'll kind of plan where I send the resupply. So whenever I send a box that has this recipe in it, I'll send it to a more populated area where I'm more likely to be able to pick up an avocado from the store. Carrying an avocado, it's definitely gonna be much more weight. Freeze drying it is way lighter. It doesn't have the skin, it doesn't have the pit, it doesn't have, I mean, I guess avocado doesn't have a ton of fluid in it. It's got a lot of fat, it's got a little bit, but yeah, anyhow, that's what I'm gonna do. I have this one as done. I also have a scrap bowl there. For those of you who are new here, I don't just throw my kitchen scraps onto the floor or away. I have a scrap bowl that I keep here. While this is waiting, I have this as far as it can go. The vegetables are roasting. I'm gonna work on the next recipe, which is the apple cinnamon oats. For these oats, it wants 1 apple chopped up. Woo! Okay. I don't know why I just tossed that second one in the air again. It's just like muscle memory. You have to throw an apple when it's in your hands. I threw that one up in the air right after I dropped the smaller one, and this one's like twice the size. I have a bunch of different apples. It is Christmas Eve right now when I'm filming this. We got a fruit basket from an aunt and uncle for Christmas as a Christmas gift, which is fabulous, especially right now when we're trying to do what we're trying to do. The other thing is this meal plan, this eating gluten-free, anti-inflammatory, prepping your own meals, a lot of this stuff can get really expensive. If you have the choice between ramen noodles and this, of course ramen noodles are gonna be cheaper. However, if I eat ramen noodles, my body is going to rebel. It is gonna feel it. One of the ways that I cut down on costs, in my area, this is a possibility. I don't know about what your area is like, so if you don't have this, then I guess this is irrelevant and I'm sorry. If you do have places like this where you live, take advantage of them. One of the things that I use is called the Flashfood app. And I'm not sponsored, nothing like that, but I do have a link that will get you $5 off. And if you use it and spend like 20 bucks or something. I think I get $5 or something like that. I'll put it in the description down below just in case you want to use it. What that app does is it hooks up with different grocery stores in my area. The only one around here where I live is Giant Eagle, but it takes food that is close to its best by date and it puts it on sale. So I get these boxes. If I have a picture, I'll show you, but I get these huge boxes of produce for $5. $5. Now, some of it you have to watch because it is at the edge. Usually when I get avocado in my box, it's already past, like, it has done past its time. It's dead. It's basically cremated at that point. But a lot of the other food is perfectly good. There's stuff that looks like it is at the peak ripeness, and I have no idea why it's in the box. Maybe it fell on the floor. I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't really care. All I know is I've gotten like $30 or $40 worth of produce for $5. So I take advantage of that. And then I also have these bent and dent stores and a grocery store called Sharp Shopper, which is a discounted grocery store. So the bent and dent, usually they're kind of Amish or Mennonite run, and they get it's bented and dented products or things that are close to their expiration date. Or the ones near me have been getting a lot of lately is, I think, like Amazon returns or rejects or something like that. So I got like 5 bags of these organic steel cut oats for $1.99 a bag. I'm pretty, like, I don't know what prices of groceries are anymore because I shop. I shop at all these discount grocery stores. So I'm a little out of touch with how much you pay for regular groceries, but I'm pretty sure a 20-ounce bag of steel-cut organic Quaker oats is not $1.99. So that is part of how I am paying for all of this. Anyhow, back to what we're talking about. I'm not sure which apple to use. I think with the cinnamon, so this is a Granny Smith. It's probably more sour. I don't know what this one is. We're gonna go with this red one. Unless it's a Red Delicious. I don't like Red Delicious apples. I'm just gonna try a little piece and make sure. Actually, I think this one is a Red Delicious. It kind of doesn't taste like, it tastes like cardboard a little. Whoop. Whoopsie. I'm not gonna use this one. I'll set this one aside and freeze it with several other fruits. And then when my freeze dryer is freed up, I will put it in, I'll just slice these, chop these up and put it in a load in the freeze dryer and eat it freeze dried as a snack. And what happens, I'm waving my knife around. What happens when you freeze dry a lot of these fruits and foods that maybe don't have a lot of flavor to them, it concentrates what flavor it does have. So all the fluid and the water in here is taken out, and then that flavor is really, what's left is just the fiber and the flavor. So even though it is not very tasty right now, if it goes through the freeze dryer, it might be a little bit tastier then. Okay. Yep, that's a Granny Smith. It's a little bit tart, but it's really delicious, so we're gonna go with it. This one came in one of those boxes, and I think maybe this, if you can see like the change in color here, it's kind of like clear-ish, translucent through there, where it's more opaque through here. I wonder if this, maybe the bottom of this got frozen. I don't know if it tastes different. Oh, actually that's way more sweet at the bottom. Maybe it's going bad down there at the bottom. I don't know, actually that's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna dice this up and then we'll put everything together in our saucepan. I've got the oats, the milk, and the recipe says water or milk alternative. I don't like almond milk. I do like dairy milk though, and dairy milk will bump the protein up just a little bit in this. So I did actually do dairy milk, and then we've got the apple. Now it says to add salt and vanilla, but it doesn't say how much. So I am just going to, I guess, guesstimate. Actually, I should get a measuring cup for this. Make my own vanilla sometimes, so that's why it looks like this. You should never ever do this. Don't ever measure over top of what you're cooking because you can spill it and have a disaster. Let's do, I don't know, how about 2 teaspoons? This is half, so yeah. After I'm kind of spilling it as well. It's probably like 1.5. That seems about right. I have no idea. Ooh, it smells so good. Oh, that cinnamon and the apples, that vanilla. Oh, this smells fabulous. I got whatever this salt is. I don't know how much. We're just gonna do a little pinch. That seems right too. I have no idea. All right. We'll let this cook up. And I think as we let this cook, it's about time to get our veggies out of the oven from our first recipe. All right, I think we have to try that again because I actually did not pay attention to how much time it was taking, and I have burnt half of it. And although I do like a little bit of burnt onion, I think this might be a little bit too far gone. Yeah, pay attention to how long you're cooking things for. We're gonna go round 2 on this. All right, this is nice and thick. I wish that you could smell this right now. It smells incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and add the walnuts. And it doesn't say when to add the peanut butter, although I am using almond butter just because it's what I had in the fridge. And I thought it would make a nice touch here. So I'm gonna add that now. The other option I can think of now is carrying a little packet of peanut butter. Well, oven's ready. On the trail. I cannot wait for this. This is so much oatmeal. I have a feeling, I know people get very, very hungry on trail. This is a big serving. I have a feeling though this might end up being breakfast and a snack, but I'll probably change my mind once I'm on the trail and starving. I am wearing pants, by the way. I realize, I see now, as I turn around and walk, it looks like I'm just like bare butt here. These are the compression leggings I was telling you about, those medical compression leggings. I just happen to be wearing the nude ones today. Probably should have chosen black for filming because this definitely looks pretty weird. But anyhow, enough of that. I want to taste test this and it smells so good. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna love this. I can't imagine not loving this. Ah, it's a winner. Apples and cinnamon is kind of a classic. And then you add walnuts, almond butter, some nuts to that. Yeah, it's great. Nothing, no notes. This is fabulous. If you're here for a while, you will get to know that I have no concept whatsoever of spatial reasoning. So I think earlier I was like, yeah, I've got 5 trays. I might do like 3 or 4 servings of each thing, and I'll put that all on a tray. There is no chance. That serving of oatmeal is, I think we're only gonna get 2 on here. And looking at that, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna end up finishing a whole one of these. I might end up sharing. If you guys meet me out on the trail and you are hungry and you haven't packed enough food, I will be the hiker who always has way more food than I need and can eat, most likely. So yeah, if you are in a bad situation, probably hit me up. Oh man, that was good though. That was good. Got around 2 of these veggies that I did, and I can see what the problem was and what I did wrong. And some of you might already be like, yeah, clearly we know too, but I didn't until just now. I made the onions and peppers way too small compared to the potatoes. What I should have done, and I stand by the ratio at which I cut them, however, I should have put the potatoes in first, let them cook and bake or roast, whatever, for maybe 5 minutes or so first, and then put the onions and peppers in. I have everything else in this bowl here, and all I'm doing is mixing it up. All right, let's try this. Smells good. All of these flavors are really great. I really like this. However, there isn't any seasoning on it. So I do, and that probably is just implied, like add whatever seasonings you like. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of seasoning that I like in this. You put whatever you want. I'm kind of thinking actually maybe in everything but the bagel might be good in here. I have an extensive collection of different herbs and spices. So I'm gonna check out what I have and see what I like best for this. All right, I've got an umami mushroom and onion. Ooh, that smells good. And I have everything but the bagel. Oh, I think I'm gonna go with everything but the bagel. You know, something I didn't mention about the quinoa when I did this, I batch cooked the quinoa ahead of time. That is a lot of seasoning, but yeah, that's all right. More flavor, better. The quinoa, you're supposed to rinse it, and I did a tricolor one. I have like little mesh strainers because I was like, obviously I can't use the colander because it's way too, the holes are way too big. The quinoa is gonna go right through it. So I used a mesh strainer, and even that, it was like a fine mesh strainer. The little black quinoa balls, grains, even that kind of went through there. So those of you who rinse your tricolored quinoa, how do you rinse it? What do you put it through that it actually rinses without all of the little black ones falling through? Let's try it again with the seasoning. Oh yeah, even better. This is delicious. For these savory oats, I have the mushrooms cooking right now and the oats as well. I just want to take a moment for you who have not been here before to admire my little pot. It's just a mid-century enameled mushroom pot, and it's one of my very favorite things. Also goes chopped spinach. I think it says a half a cup, but I accidentally chopped up a cup. I don't see there being a problem with too much spinach in there. It's gonna wilt down to nothing anyway. And then we'll add some garlic, scramble the eggs, and I'll get back to you. When I saw this one, I was pretty excited. I thought it was very different than other things that I've seen. Usually when you have oats, it's a sweet, you know, you have like apple cinnamon like we had the first one, or berries and cream, strawberry, banana nut, that sort of thing. You don't often see oats in a savory context, so I was really excited to see this one. I also just double checked to see how many grams of fiber would be in this, because it's a big old pot of oats. And I have a feeling when she was planning these recipes, she probably meant old-fashioned oats, not steel cut, and I just happened to grab steel cut. There are 16 grams of fiber in this. Now, if you are someone who is not used to eating a lot of fiber in one sitting, starting out with a meal like this is not advisable. 16 grams of fiber in one sitting is gonna be a lot. You're gonna have some gastric distress, and if you're not drinking enough, it's really gonna be a problem. However, typically in my regular life, I eat anywhere between 30 and 40 grams of fiber in a regular day, so this really won't be a problem for me. It smells good. It smells very savory. I forgot to mention, I added the salt into this after, when I was combining the veggies, the eggs, and the oats, I did add the salt in there. While I was very excited about this one, I think there's just something that I want in here that isn't in there. I think I want more vegetables. I bulk up my meals and my recipes with a lot of vegetables, which is important. We need a lot of veggies and micronutrients, that sort of thing, on the trail. However, vegetables are not super nutrient dense when it comes to calories. Bulking something up with something like a vegetable is going to take away from how many calories a recipe is going to have in it. Next up, we are departing from the grains. Now is it's just eggs and veggies. So I have some grated potato here. The other day, I got these potatoes in that produce box. I got zucchini in the produce box. Actually, half of the ingredients I needed for this came in that produce box. So probably all in all, I might have $20 in, well, that's not even true because I've only used pieces of this. I have like $4 or $5 in these recipes at this point. We'll get them cooking with the olive oil. So the size that this made is a little bit more reasonable, I think. And I'm gonna add, I've got the 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds here. This seems like a significant amount of hemp seeds for this. Probably should be mixed in. All right, and I added salt and pepper in here. Now that I'm saying this, I don't know why I put this on the freeze dryer tray before I mixed it together. That was stupid, but I did put salt and pepper in. Let's take just a little bit of a taste. That's pretty good. I like the texture of the hemp seeds in there, but I do need a little bit. I didn't add enough seasoning for myself, but I think this is another one. Everything but the bagel, or everything bagel, that's it. Everything but the bagel is the Trader Joe's version. I'm gonna add a little bit of everything bagel onto this, and I think that'll kick it up just enough. Oh, you know what I was thinking about the last recipe? I said there just wasn't quite enough flavor that I was looking for in it, and I was thinking maybe about bumping it up with some more veggies, but you know what I think really would complement that? Adding some feta cheese in that I think would be killer. I've never tried to freeze dry feta cheese before. I don't know how it would do, but just off the top of my head, some feta, a couple tablespoons of feta in there would have really just, The next one, the Southwest breakfast, also looks delicious. I might have to do some adjusting with the recipe. So the ingredients and the directions don't quite match up, which is fine. I'll kind of just, take some ideas into my own hands. I'll start by sauteing the sweet potatoes. And then it says to add the spinach. It doesn't say how much spinach in there. I'm wondering if the spinach is supposed to be the tomatoes, because there is a half a cup of diced tomatoes in the ingredients list, and maybe they accidentally put spinach instead of the tomatoes. Spinach, I don't know, spinach would be fine in here, but so would the tomatoes, and we haven't had tomatoes yet. I'm just trying to decide. The other thing that is not listed in here, it doesn't say where to put the avocado, so I'm guessing probably just at the end with everything. Something that is not listed here that I really, really like, and I happen to have a bunch of, is green chilies. So I am a huge fan. I think it'll go well in this recipe. It's not like they were supposed to put it in there or anything. I'm just kind of spitballing, looking at this recipe and thinking, I would really like some green chilies in there. So I'm just gonna put it in there. I have decided just to add everything. So I'm gonna do tomatoes and spinach. I'm gonna add them in at this first part with the sweet potatoes to cook. And then it says to add the canned corn and the black beans after scrambling the eggs. But I think I'd like them to get at least a little bit of a char in there and kind of mix the flavors in just a tiny bit. So I am going to put those in the skillet together to cook after the spinach wilts a little bit. Got our avocado, we're gonna try this one out. Everything is mixed in together. One smells very good. I love the smell of sauteing sweet potatoes. That tastes great overall. It needs a little salt though. Yeah, with the salt, delicious. I would do a couple rounds of this. I think I'm gonna cook up maybe a few more servings of a couple more of these recipes and freeze dry it, and then I'll be back here and show you packaging this up. We are back and we are freeze dried. Now, if you can kind of see here, things got a little bit hectic after we stopped filming the other day, and it's the holidays right now. So I ended up only making the one recipe of each. I didn't end up making a second or third of some of these like I had intended, but that's fine. The other thing that I forgot to do that I should have done is weigh each tray before and then after. That way I know how much fluid needs to go back into this. The quinoa breakfast that we did. If it weighed a certain amount beforehand and then it weighed 8 ounces less after it comes out of the freeze dryer, I would know to add 8 ounces of fluid back to it. Because I forgot, I'm just gonna have to do some guesswork out on the trail, and quite frankly, I probably won't even care at that point. I imagine by the time I'm eating this, I'm gonna be so hungry that if it's a little bit extra water in there, I am not going to care. I'm just gonna drink it down like tea after. Originally, I purchased these bags for my meals because they have these little bottoms here that you can stand up and they make it easy for rehydration. However, these just aren't as nice. I could have sworn that I ordered more bags and that they were like longer, more rectangular because you can get your hand down in there easier, but I can't find where I put them, so I must not have. But it's very clear to me that based on this size and the size of this meal, There's no way. Absolutely no way that's gonna fit in there. I have these bigger bags that I bought for other long-term storage things. The Mylar is a little bit thicker. It's definitely too big for what we have here. However, I will fill it up and then I will just cut it off at the top and then seal the bottom where we cut it off. And then I'll just make it into a second bag. To be honest with you, looking at this right now, if you are not used to freeze-dried food, if you don't have a freeze dryer at home and this is not what you're used to seeing, it kind of looks disgusting. That looks like something that ends up on the floor after a cat has thrown up. It's just not the most attractive and appealing thing freeze-dried. However, when you rehydrate it, it is delicious. It tastes very similar to what it did when it was fresh. First one we have here is the quinoa egg bowl. And actually this is pretty loose. I thought it might be one full thing, like with this oatmeal. You just pick this sucker up, just like this, the whole thing. With this quinoa and eggs, it is coming up in little pieces. So I am gonna go ahead and get a spoon for that. Just scoop her in there. I am gonna leave just a couple pieces of avocado out with maybe like a potato and a few pieces of the quinoa and try and rehydrate it just to see what the avocado tastes like and how it does rehydrated, so I can determine, do I really want to continue to make the foods with avocado and freeze dry the avocado, or would I prefer to make it without the avocado and then hopefully I can pick up a fresh one somewhere in a town where I can resupply and pack it out onto the trail with the rest of the food. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit heavier when I'm carrying out. However, that would be something that I would plan to eat first and get the weight of that avocado off my back and into my tummy. I have my trusty hair straightener as an iron. I'm just gonna go right at the top here. You can see I just sealed it right across here and I'm just gonna cut it. All right, and that's perfect. Now the top of that is sealed, the bottom of this is sealed, and I have another bag to use. I have our Savory oatmeal here. Just gonna break that up, stick it in. You gotta be careful in this kitchen. I remembered my oxygen absorbers. Now this one is probably, this size is probably a little overkill, but this is what I have sitting in here right now. That's what we're gonna use. And before I forget, because that is a move I would absolutely pull, is to not label these and have no clue what is inside of them. I'm gonna mark them now. We're gonna try the egg and veggie hash in one of these little ones. See if it'll fit. You can see kind of what it looks like inside of there. It definitely fit just fine. There was no problems with that. So we'll get this one sealed up. I try to squeeze as much air out as possible beforehand, even before I put the oxygen absorber in there. I do think the Southwest one will also fit in here. Can I pick it? Oop. I keep thinking I'm gonna be able to pick it up, and I go to pick it up, and it starts out great, and it's moving as one, but then the edges are just kind of falling away. So this, I'm gonna put it back down before I make a mess. Last but certainly not least is the apple cinnamon oats. These, I have a feeling, just this is hefty. Even just holding it now freeze dried, like this has got some serious heft to it. I do not think it's going to fit in that smaller package, so we are putting it in the big guy. This is massive, massive. I've got an appetite, but I do not think I'm gonna be able to take this one down on my own. And just like that, I have 5 days worth of breakfasts on the trail. I plan to make every single one of the recipes from this meal plan that the students sent me over, and I plan to record all of it and share that with you guys as well. So do expect to see some videos of more breakfasts, some lunches, some dinners, and some snacks out of this. That is as long as my freeze dryer cooperates. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but we do obviously have a freeze dryer. It's a Harvest Right. We got it in 2020, and I'm gonna be honest, I think we got a lemon. It has had more problems. It's been not working more often than it does work since we've received it. We're trying some different things to keep it going. and hopefully we'll be able to keep it going at least to get me through this trail. And then I don't know what we'll do after that. I might have to switch to dehydrating instead of freeze drying, which is not ideal for me. However, you kind of got to do what you got to do, and I don't plan on putting out several thousand more dollars for another freeze dryer. And that being said, if I have to also resort to purchasing more foods that are pre-made from other companies, I am definitely open to that. I love trying different things, especially bonus points if it's from a small business or like a local company or something. So if you guys have brands, I know a few brands have reached out to me already, but if you guys have some brands that you love and that you really would like for me to try that do freeze-dried snacks, freeze-dried foods, like lightweight trail meals, send that info over. I'd love to check some of those out. My stuff is kind of focused around the food. I love the food. So if there's something that you want to see, something you wish someone would make a video about, let me know. If it's something that I feel is feasible that I can do and film and show you guys, I'd love to do that. I'll catch you next time with some lunches. Bye guys.